What's good, YouTube? This is the Mountaineer by Spark CYCLEWORKS, a 26x4 fat tire e-bike made for off-roading. We'll check it out next on the channel. Okay, so if you don't know Spark CYCLEWORKS, they're a company out of Brantford, Connecticut. A small but dedicated team of e-bike enthusiasts that work out of there. They're kind of known for their electric moped, the Bandit, which I hope to have on the channel one day. But they also make some other bikes as well. This is their fat tire mountain bike that they promote. They definitely built this for the trails, so not really a commuter bike. This is going off-roading. So it's a really nice looking package here with a semi-integrated battery on the back here. Comes in white or black as far as the frame color goes, and pretty good parts overall. Now, I think one of the coolest parts about Spark is that they kind of build stuff in-house. So these bikes are assembled in the US, and what that means is when they get the parts of this bike, they basically get the frame with the rear tire installed, they tell me. And from there, they put the rest of the stuff on. So the front tile, the cables, all the electronics, they do themselves there at the Spark headquarters. So, you know, when it comes to buying American in e-bike world, I mean, this is kind of as close as you can get. There's a handful of companies out there that do a lot of their assembling in the US. I have a great post over on ebikestrong.com if you want to check that out. There's probably about 10 companies on there that do a lot of this stuff. Of course, most of these parts come from overseas. You just can't help that. But in the case of Spark, they build basically about 50% of this bike after they get it from the manufacturer overseas. So, you know, it's nice to see that, and I like to support companies like that whenever you can. And so, this is a really good value, I think, as well that you're getting. I'll talk about the price later, but let me just run you through the specs on this Spark, on the Mountaineer. It's got 26x4-inch Chow Yang tires. The brakes are mechanical, 160 millimeter rotors on there. It's a Bafang 750 watt geared hub motor, and it's got 80 newton meters of torque, so pretty good power on that rear motor there. It's got a removable 48 volt 13 amp hour battery featuring Samsung cells, so nice job there. 7-speed derailleur. Top speed is 25 miles an hour, and it has a range of about 30 miles. So we'll put that to the test in the next week or so. It's also a pretty light e-bike as well. Without the battery, it's 55 pounds. And it's hard to find a 26x4 that weighs that weighs that low. So with the battery, it's 65. And you know, this is not too heavy, not too light. And so I like that aspect of this. There's no fenders or anything. You can buy a rack with it. You can buy fenders extra. But I like the minimalist look of this e-bike. It just says go off trail with it. Really, I mean, you can't look at this and not think trail when you look at the Mountaineer. So they did a nice job with the design of it overall. The controllers over here. You know, I'm not sure what size chain ring is on here, but it is just single-sided. You got your typical metal pedals down here, and it's a Shimano Tourney derailleur there. 7-speed, comes with a bell, and has a left side mounted control panel. Never seen this display before, but it does give you voltage, which I love. So I'll show you that later. And the brakes are Wuxing brakes, and they work pretty well so far. It's also got a thumb throttle. For you thumb fans, which I'm a fan of. I think on a bike like this, I like the thumb throttle in this position versus the left, because it's really easy to use as you're riding. So definitely much more forward design as well. A mountain type bike, e-bike to go on the trails with. So what else can I tell you? Recommended for riders between 5'4" up to 6'2". So it's definitely, you know, it's a shorter bike, definitely shorter than my Derwent, which is a 26x4. Minimum seat height is pretty low. I'll have to measure that for you, but it's a very easy to control bike, very agile, and has some great power. Power kind of, it's not immediate power, it's a little more gradual than say a Derwent, which is 85 Newton meters of torque, or my Espen Nesta, but gives you a lot of confidence on the road, very stable as well. I was riding with no hands the other day, and this front end did not move at all, so very stable bike on the road. The price of this bike is, right now, it's $15.45 on the Spark CycleWorks website, so that's a pretty good deal. It's $50 off, normally $15.95, but they're having a sale right now, I guess. And they have dozens of these bikes in stock, so they ship within 1 to 3 days. So if you were to buy one, you're gonna get it pretty quickly, particularly if you live on the East Coast where they're located. So really nice, you know, pretty good value for the money here. Well, we're gonna take it on the road, do a little test riding, go over, we'll test the brakes, we'll do a 0 to 20 speed test. We'll check out the PAS speeds, and we'll do a hill climb test as well. And I'll give you my first impression, so stay tuned. Let's turn the bike on and show you the display here. Hopefully you can see this. You got your speed up here, PAS levels, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Your BMS, or your voltage, right now it's at 49.3. You got 4 out of 5 bars showing. And I put 7 miles on the bike so far. So there you go. It does have these normal eco power modes, but they don't use these actually, so they're there, but you can't change them. And the bike's rated to go up to 25 miles an hour, so keep that in mind. As we look at the rest of the handlebar, it's your bell and shifter, and here's your thumb throttle. So pretty nice there. All right, let's do our PAS speed test. I'm start out in 1. We'll check how many miles it goes, how many miles per hour it goes. Going to 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we'll see how fast this thing is on each speed level. Right now we're in 1. Hit the throttle, get some speed. And we're looking at 7 miles an hour in PAS 1. Going slightly uphill here. Let's put it in 2. That kicks it up a notch. And we're going to 9.5, 0.6, 0.7, 10 miles an hour in PAS 2. PAS 3, another boost. And we're hitting 12.9, 13 miles an hour, 13.4, 14. Let's go to pedal assist 4. And we're doing 16 miles an hour. Pedal assist 5, should go to 20 here. And we're at 20 miles an hour on PAS 5. Actually getting to 21.2 here, so pedaling pretty fast. Time for a hill climb test. I'm on the bottom of a very long hill here. It's got kind of 2 levels to it. The first part is kind of, it's not that steep. The second part is steeper, and it is long, so it's definitely, I'd say at least 500 feet long. I don't know. It's got a decent length to it. So I'm in PAS 5. I'm in gear 5, and we're gonna start pedaling and see how we do here. With 750 watt bikes, you know, these are all good hill climbers. So I'm putting in minimal effort right now. I'm doing 10 miles an hour, gaining speed actually. As we go up this gradual hill, at 11.9, there's 13. Kicking up speed here, wow. 13.7 miles an hour now, 13.9, at the 14, 14.2. It's gaining speed now. The power really comes in strong once you get going here. I'm averaging 14.9 right now. Okay, here's where it's getting steep. So starting to pedal a little bit faster. We're dropping speed now, going to 13.2. Now we're at 12.2, 11.2, and cresting the hill at 10 miles an hour. So pretty decent job there. 10 miles an hour at the kind of height, and not a bad hill climber at all. I'm going to head up this really steep hill and come down and do a brake test for you. So this one's really tough. I don't know how people live up here, because I would hate to drive this in the winter. We're at one of the highest points in town, actually, and I'm going to turn around here. If you squint, you can see Long Island Sound out there. So we're pretty high. I think we're at several hundred feet as far as the hike goes. But let's see how this bike does on braking. Now, this bike has 160 millimeter rotors. Kind of feel I should have 180 on here, but these are mechanical disc brakes. Just a kind of a, looks like a Wuxing, not sure what brand that is, but I've seen them before. They have pretty good feel, and let's see how we do on the downhill here. We're gonna go pretty fast down this hill. I gotta slow down, actually. Way too fast. Alright, stopped pretty well. Gripped it. The back wheel slid out a little bit, but not as much as my Derwin, which has a little more heft to it. So, but I give it good marks on braking, so not bad at all. Alright, so that's kind of part one of the review of the Mountaineer. Again, Spark does a lot of this installation in-house. All the front stuff here, the cable management, they put on the cable management ties here, or spiral wrap, and definitely a well-made bike, and no complaints there. And just a good looking, clean looking mountain e-bike. You can see the rack points on here. You can buy the rack off Spark or put your own on. You know, pretty nice looking bike. For part two, I'm going to take this off-roading on a trail in the coming days, and kind of give you more of a feel for how the bike rides and how it performs on the trail itself. But I would definitely buy this bike. I think it's a great value at $15.45. I mean, you get some decent bike for your money here. You know, all it really needs, I think, is maybe bigger rotors and maybe an adjustable handlebar if you want to bring it up a little bit. You do sit forward with this bike, which is typical of mountain bikes, but it's got a nice Pro Max stem on here, I think it is. And I put my own seat on it for now with a Suntour. I think that really helps top it off and just makes it a little more comfortable. But gotta like the looks of this bike. Chow Yang tires. I really like the blacked out version versus any kind of white lettering on these e-bikes. Just makes it for a cleaner look. And that's a look at the Spark CYCLEWORKS Mountaineer. So stay tuned for part two coming up. Here's a nice long downhill, and a little bonus footage here for you. Let's see how fast we can go on this downhill. I typically hit over 30 miles an hour at the bottom of this hill, so right now we're at 19 and climbing. $26, $28, $29. $28.9, $29.2, and $29.5. So didn't quite hit 30, but this bike is a little bit lighter than the other ones I've done, and so very stable on the road as well. So gotta give it props for that. It's a very agile bike too. really take turns on this thing pretty well. Very stable bike, as you can see. I can control this with my legs if I need to.